The Prentice Alsop Heating and Air Coaches Corner, fueled by Donut Country and McDonald's Murfreesboro on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSSports.com.
We're back here on the Coaches Show, brought to you by Bowen's Body Shop. From dings and dents to full body work, trust Jeff and Kyle Bowen to do the job right. They're out there on Middle Tennessee Boulevard. Great folks at Bowen's Body Shop, and it's time to talk some Rockvale baseball this morning. The head coach, Shea Diehl, joins us here in studio. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. It's always good to be here.
Absolutely. Good to have you. It's hard for me to believe. I just can't get used to this, spring sports starting a week earlier. It's just kind of thrown me for a loop. I don't know why I didn't realize it last year. But.
Yeah, it come in last year with us, and it's been good. It kind of rushes practice a little bit, and the weather's been a little bit uncooperative the past few weeks, but we were able to get our work in, able to get things going, and then it gives you that extra week to get some extra games in, play that first tournament, and get you 5 or 6 games in early before you hit that district gauntlet and run that thing.
Yeah, well, I guess your first district series is not next week, but the next.
Not next week. Next week we'll play in the Grand Slam, as everybody is around here, and then we'll have Blackman that following week. So it's and here in Fraser this morning, and they're ready to go. So it's one of those things.
It's crazy with that series out. Taking that out of the conversation, it's almost like March is what leads into district every week in April, and then it's tournament time.
It's tournament time, and that's what we've been telling the boys. We're playing for May, so it's one of those things where those first two, especially the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks is to get the rust off and get yourself prepared to run that gauntlet at the end of the year, and then once you get to that district play, it's a grind. Those 3-game series are good. They're good for baseball. They're good for baseball in Rutherford County, but as coaches, it can take a tear on you because you don't know. It's kind of, we always joke, it's kind of like Groundhog's Day because it's just kind of rolling.
And here it is again.
Yes,
and here
sir.
it is again.
Yes, sir.
There are so many things for a baseball coach to manage. You're getting the field ready, weather, what's going to happen, moving games around, tournaments when you're playing like every night. Then you've got to worry about the pitching and, how many innings can this guy go now, and versus what's happening in April is totally different.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir.
I mean, that's just scratching the surface on, you got to have a lot of good assistants too.
I've got a great staff, and I've been very fortunate out there. We have Coach Looper, who's been under the weather, and he's doing great, and we're missing him, but the work that he put in the fall has been. We were just talking a minute ago. It's been beneficial. The pitching's been great. He's taken over the pitching staff since he's gotten there, and those guys are applying what he taught to him in the fall, and they're doing well. And then when the game's over, before I can even get to my phone, I pick it up, and Looper's already texted me and said. And then you got Coach Bartlett, who's come in with us too, and those guys make my life so much easier because we all have roles, and I don't have to micromanage, and when they come in, it's unbelievable how the help that they got. Like Coach Bartlett's out mowing right now, so it's one of those things where it takes things off your plate because, like you're saying, there's so many things that you don't realize that take place because you got to keep the field, you got to do the pitching, you got to do the weather, you got to do it all. So it's a routine, but we all have our part to it, and we're having those great assistants. And then I have Coach Harrison, who's taken over the weight room for me. He's working in the JV with the JV team right now, but he's changed the whole dynamic of the game for us too because he's doing such a great job in the weight room that you can physically see the boys developing into men, and I've got a really good staff.
I kind of thought maybe you'd have trouble with keeping up with Mike from wandering off.
Yeah, he does wander off a little bit, but I've let everybody know in the building. If you see him wandering off, just give me a call and we'll get him going in the right direction. No, but Coach Bartlett's great. He's been a huge help to the staff.
A lot of baseball knowledge.
Baseball knowledge. He keeps me sane. He knows when. He can tell when the frustration's building on me, and he'll say something to make me smile or pat me on the butt and say, "Hey, we're right where we're supposed to be. Relax, have a good time." So that's been real good for me, just having him and Looper too. I mean, Looper has a vast knowledge of baseball as well, so it's one of those things where when you got guys like that you can depend on, it makes your life a whole lot easier.
Shea Diehl here talking Rockvale baseball. Boy, when the season's here, it's here. You've played how many games this week?
We've played 3. We were supposed to play 5. We've played 3, and then we'll play 1 this afternoon. We picked up 1 this afternoon in the tournament that we're playing in Williamson County. But we opened up with Page on Monday night. We won a really good ball game, 1-0 in 7 innings. And then it rained on Tuesday. We were supposed to go to Nolensville. It rained. And then Wednesday, it was just the weather was brutal. So Coach McClory called me and said, it's just too cold. And I said, I understand. And then Thursday, we went to Summit and played 10 innings and won 3-1. That was a really good ball game, really good test for our guys. I was very proud of the way that they handled themselves and fought through it. We could have had a couple times where we could have fallen behind the 8 ball, and they found a way to get through the inning. So it's been really good. The pitching's held up. And then last night we went to Brentwood, and I think we lost 9-3, but we got beat. We didn't lose. So it was one of those things where we played 7 innings and we walked 1 guy. So we got beat last night. They were a little bit better than we were.
Talk a little bit about your pitching staff, and I know you've got one kid who I've enjoyed watching play basketball and, of course, baseball, and that's Ty Newton. He's going to go down as one of the great athletes from Rockvale High School.
Ty has been with us. He's played a part in our program for 4 years, even the success that we have early, and he was a freshman, sophomore. He was a big part of that, and he's a great kid. He's a competitor. Sometimes you have to grab him by the shirt and just say, Ty, chill out a little bit. But that's a competitor in him, so it's great. And then he'll be on the mound for us some too. I've got another senior named Levi Viverette, who he's come in and done a great job. Logan Rhodes is a junior. He's right there with us. I got another guy, Tave Mulchin, who's a senior. When I put the ball in his hand, I know he's going to compete and throw strikes for me and be able to get out of jams. And he's a guy that you can use multiple nights. And he's a one-time through-the-order guy, but when he goes out there, he's going to compete. Ties we talked about. I've got a couple sophomores. Sam Jones, Owen Guidry's a good right-handed arm. I've got Nelson Perez, a senior. He came in and closed the game against Page the other night and threw really well. I was very proud of the way that he handled himself and went out there and threw strikes and closed the game out. Zach Smith started for us last night. He's a sophomore as well. He threw strikes early. He got touched up a little bit, which is understandable. It was a good hitting Brentwood team, but he pounded the zone. James Vaughn's another sophomore that's going to eat in or get innings for us. Braden Sullivan, a junior. Antonio Carrion, who's a junior, he's come in and he's done a great job. He's thrown twice this week and got out of 2 big jams, gave us a good inning at Page that kind of helped us get over the hump. And then I've got 2 guys on the back end, Jacob Fowler, who's a sophomore, and then Logan Manassa, who's a junior, and then Sam Harding, who's a senior, that can come in and throw strikes for me as well. Like I said, the pitch has been good. We've played 24 innings this week and walked 4 guys, so we're doing a good job there.
And that's good to see early on.
Absolutely. I mean, we preach there's 3 things you can do. You got to throw strikes, you got to play clean, and you got to put the ball in play. And if you at least do 2 out of 3 of those in a night, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. So
you had last year, I think, was maybe safe to say a little frustrating for your team. Things. I think it was a lot of youth. It was
youth. Yeah, we were running 3 or 4 freshmen out there a night last year, and we had a group of seniors. Of course, that bunch that was my first bunch that went through when the school opened, they had left the year before. So we graduated 15 guys the year before, and I think 12 of them had signed. So it was one of those things where we were a little thin on the tail end, but we were able to get those young guys repetition and experience last year, and I like to say as sophomores they're kind of playing as juniors because they've ran the gauntlet already. They know what to expect. They have a routine now.
That was kind of my thought about, that's only going to help you this year.
Absolutely, and that's what we preached the whole year last year. Of course, we were pulling for those seniors and trying to make the best of it, but getting those young guys out there and getting them experience and getting their feet wet. Now and it's paid off. Sam Jones the other night at Page had the game-winning hit, and he was one of those freshmen that had played last year. He's playing as a sophomore now, but he met the moment because he had been there before, and I truly believe that because he had been in that situation early.
Good hitting up and down your lineup?
We'll get there. Like anybody that's been sitting in here talking to you this morning, pitching's going to dominate right now. The hitting, we showed some life last night, and in the first 2 nights we got the big hits when we needed them. So that's what we preach. If you can play clean and throw strikes and get the big hit, you're going to give yourself a chance to win.
Well, when district rolls around just around the corner, I think you've got Blackman up first.
Blackman, yes, sir. So we got them in 2, or not next week, but the next, and then it starts. It's an every week thing. So
it's I think up and down the entire district this year, everybody's a little bit better.
Everybody's going to be better. It's one of those things. Anybody can beat anybody on any night. So it's it's one of those things where you have to prepare yourself, and that's why we try to play such a tough schedule, is that when we do get to those district games, we're prepared for what we're going to see. And it's been a testament this week. We've played some really, really good ball games and some really good ball teams.
Well, I mean, you listed off several of those Williamson County teams that are always in the play.
Yes, sir. And, I mean, we went in there and held our own. We you know, as you said, last year we had a little bit of a rough time, and we didn't really know what to expect. We knew what we had. We knew what we had the capability of doing. We knew what we had the chance. But to see it kind of come into play and come into tuition, it's been good and it's been inspiring.
Well, this next week you've got the Grand Slam tournament. You and I guess everybody in Rutherford County is participating.
Everybody's in town. So we'll play. We play every night next week. We play Tullahoma on Monday, which is coming off a state championship.
Wow,
so it's in Coach Morris does a good job down there. So we got Columbia as well. We go to Coffee County. Beach, we play Beach, who's a very good ball club this year. So we're running the gauntlet early to run the gauntlet at the end. So we're trying to get our guys ready to go. So when that district does hit, there's no surprises.
Well, we hope for a spring of good weather, only rain on nights when there are not games planned,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir. It makes my life easier not having to roll that tarp out and check the weathers and your apps and everything else. So
yeah, you have to be an amateur meteorologist,
yes,
I guess,
sir,
right?
Absolutely.
Well, we'll look forward to coming out to Rockvale or seeing you at a district game or something here down the road real soon. And Shea, always appreciate you coming in.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Shea Diehl, the head coach of the Rockvale baseball team, on the Coach's Show this morning, which is brought to you by Dan France Concrete, a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. That's Dan France Concrete. This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
I'm Ian Young. I'm at Las Casas Feed Supply. I'm selling beef and pork, 100% Angus, raised here in Las Casas. Come get you some.
Everyone's favorite cuts available.